City Current. Produced by Dakota Media Access. In-depth discussion with Bismarck and Mandan city officials. Watch on Government Access Channel 602 HD or tune in to Radio Access 102.5 FM. Always local, always current.
Welcome to City Current. It is Wednesday and November 20th, a snowy day, our first snowy day here in Bismarck, Mandan. I'm Mary Van Sickle, and we're here in the studios at Dakota Media Access, here for City Current, and Jim Neubauer is joining us.
Good morning, Mary. Snowy and windy, to say the least.
Yes.
I knew something happened to my hair this morning, but I think
Yeah.
it blew all off
hair day
or
all-
put it
all
in a
the way
bad
around.
place. It needs work.
Oh my gosh. Jim is the city administrator for the city of Mandan. And as always with City Current, we're here to talk about the city commission meeting last night. Mandan Commission met. Very short agenda.
Yeah.
Pretty short meeting, but we got
25, 30
notes to
minutes,
go
but we
through.
got big stuff on the agenda, don't we?
We sure do. It started out with some announcements.
Correct.
We want to talk about probably one of the biggest annual events now Mandan has downtown,
Right.
and that's the Holiday Lights.
Holiday Lights, and
Oh my gosh.
Matt Shenandoah, the executive director for the Mandan Progress Organization, was there to kind of
Mm-hmm.
brag it up and announce that lights will come on after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, the Bismarck Tribune kind of beat everybody
Yes.
to the punch on Monday. This was on their front page, showing people already enjoying it. The weather was beautiful
Right.
as well, and I think this was over the weekend. It was just a cute picture of families, and that was the whole intention, right? Come
Oh.
down, photo ops, all that.
All kinds of selfie opportunities and photo ops and things like that. And I know some people see us putting out, or the MPO and its volunteers, which have a great volunteer base, putting the decorations out towards the end of October, and people going, oh my gosh, Halloween isn't even done, and Thanksgiving isn't here, and already Christmas decorations are going out. But with the understanding that these need to go out when the weather is nice. They can't be putting them out on days like today, otherwise
The old
things
saying
break.
is, you make hay while the sun shines,
Right,
right? You
so-
do it while you got a moment. And here's another picture that we have of the
Yep.
holiday lights. But the city approved more funding for lights, so you've added a bunch from last year, right?
Added a bunch from last year. The Mandan Progress Organization made a request of our Visitors Fund, which has funds in there that come from, we call it the bed and booze tax and things like that, that those funds can only be spent on visitor attractions. And they came in and asked for $300,000 and to do several different displays. And also, if you
Yeah.
drive down Main Street of Mandan, you'll see it. All of these street lights have new decorations on
that's
them
right,
too. So
yeah.
we kind of replaced all those, moved the old ones around to different areas of town. But what a difference it
Yeah.
makes if you drive down downtown Mandan.
So, if you say to yourself, wow, we were there last year.
Yeah.
It's a new experience. So
New experience. The included in that request were, I think, one gigantic ice castle. So that is worth coming down and seeing on its own. But
heard
we
that.
also put new displays up in the Morton Mandan Public Library on the entrance and some other things. So you'll notice a lot of new things and different things. So don't think that, well, I saw it last year, it's just going to be the same old, same
Right.
old. There's a lot of new stuff going on.
Yeah, so lots of different events happening.
Right.
The Santa comes in on a covered wagon, and that is what
Yep.
day?
Santa touches down on November 30th, I think, on
Okay.
Saturday at 12:30. I think is touchdown for Santa, and that event runs from 1 o'clock to 3
There's a little
o'clock. So,
parade and small business Saturday that same time.
yep, Madison Cermak, our business development communications director, got up and touted Small Business Saturday on November 30th. So,
Yep.
and that's intention is to get folks into your local downtown shops, whether they're downtown or any other part of town. It's your
Yeah.
mom and pop shops that we really want folks to focus
Sure.
on buying from.
So there's another event we've got on the
Yep.
screen too on December 7th, cocoa cookies and real reindeer.
Right, not
I
fake
mean,
reindeer, real reindeer
fake
coming to town
reindeer.
on December 7th. So.
Okay, so yeah, lots of things going on.
They even have Santa's Run. So Santa's Run is December 14th. So I want to make sure we plug that one.
Throughout the holiday, we've got some
Yep.
some things happening downtown. So check it out. There's some nice restaurants down there
Yes.
too. Have
Yep.
a bite to eat.
Have a bite to eat, take advantage, and take a walk through the park.
Yes, it's very nice. So, introduction of a new staff member last
Correct.
night as well. We got a picture of Brittany Thomas coming
Yes.
into what department is
She's
Brittany
a
with?
permit technician in our building department, so when you come in and get your building permit and things related to that, she will be the one at the front desk to help you
Yes.
out. So
We've got her picture on the screen along with,
with Jordan Singer, our building official,
Okay.
we always like to bring in our new employees and have them meet the commissioners and have the commissioners meet them. And Brittany is in a position of public-facing position, so you'll see her when you walk into City Hall. So
Yep.
doing a great job so far, and she's been with us for, I think, 2-3 weeks.
he mentioned, as Jordan mentioned, also that you've got some new software that will
Correct.
kind of expedite some of the
Working through some
processes.
kinks on that, getting
Yeah.
that through the system. As
Nice.
old software becomes archaic and outdated and things like that, we've gone to some new programs,
Yeah.
and migrating all of the old data into the new program is always challenging,
Oh, yeah.
but our folks are doing a great job at that.
There's always a little pain in transition. so,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Consent agenda item.
Yes.
We just wanted to talk about one of them, and that was a budget adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 2024 budget adjustment to the assessment department.
Right.
What's the reason behind this, Jim?
Well, when the legislative met 2 years ago now, or coming up on 2 years ago, they instituted the $500 residential property tax credit, and also they changed and upped the limits for a lot of the homestead tax credit qualifications where more people are able to apply, and it will be a tax savings to them. We had considerable foot traffic coming into our assessing department last January through March, and this position we hire some part-time help in the summertime to help our assessing department. We didn't utilize all of those hours in 2024, so we're going to move some of those to 2025
Oh.
to provide some better customer service and more assistance to our folks, so that when they come in and ask, the $500 credit will be again there this year, and you'll have and also the homestead tax credit qualifications and have all been changed. Not again, but they'll be similar to what they are last year.
Yeah.
But again, helping those folks get through that process.
Yeah.
Like I said, in order to provide some better customer service, we've got some. It's not, it's a budgetary net neutral. So it's not costing us any more. We'll get some additional help
Yeah.
to get more folks through that system.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so a good thing.
Yeah. We want to talk couple items under new business. One of them was a purchase by Public Works.
Correct.
This was an air burner firebox
Yes.
purchase, which has already been approved. It's in the budget.
In the 2024 budget,
What
yes.
does this device do, or this piece of equipment? We have a picture of it there, Jim.
This device actually will take care of a lot of our wood waste.
Okay.
So right now at the landfill for the city of Mandan owns about 3 miles west of Mandan, we have what we call an air curtain destructor, the official term of it. I call it a big old hairdryer that will dig a pit, we'll drop the logs and the wood material in that pit. That hairdryer, pardon my using the hairdryer term, it will blow air into that hole, create more heat, makes the stuff burn faster and burn hotter, less smoke. So a lot of issues. We've had that one for probably 20 to 25 years.
Wow.
The idea with this, call it a firebox, you can drop that material into that box where again there is air circulating through it. It burns hotter, it burns quicker, and it puts out less smoke.
Probably
And again-
less ash, too, I would
Yep,
assume.
and less ash. The hotter you burn things, the less ash there will be. It'll be easier to clean out and a lot safer for our folks, because right now we use a front end loader to drop trees and tree stumps and branches in that pit. Well, that pit dries out and then the dirt becomes a little unstable. So if you're moving a front end loader towards the edge of that to drop material in it, this is just a much safer way to do this.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're looking forward to its delivery. Again, burn quicker, burn hotter, and
Yeah.
save our folks time in the long run and be a much safer product.
So this will be located out at the landfill, but
Correct.
as I recall, Commissioner Schoenberg asked the question about, in an emergency, could this be relocated?
Yep.
And it was mentioned that it is on skids, so it can be moved.
It can be moved, and it is somewhat portable. We won't on a regular basis have
Right.
it in town.
Sure.
But if an emergency came up and we needed to clear debris and have to clear debris hauled to a site closer than the 3 miles out for a landfill, we could do that
Yeah.
also. So, yeah, only to be used in town during emergency situations, but again, this will save our folks time, and again, the big key here is it's a much safer operation for them.
And while it was already approved on your budget, the issue last night was a report of your purchasing it through the GSA
Right.
system.
Right, which means we don't have to go out for a public bid, because through buying through the GSA system, there's already been the bid process, and the price that we were able to buy this unit at was less than, we did check other sources too, so this was the best deal that we could find for the product that we needed.
Was this the first time we've seen your new Public Works Director?
Shane's been introduced before,
Yeah.
so as Brittany Thomas was introduced, we've had Shane up before, but I think this may be the first time he's needed to present. And welcome to Public Works world yesterday and today with the ice and
Oh,
snow and
sure,
wind and
yeah.
things like that. So sanding trucks have been out and about starting last night.
Plows and sanding trucks.
No plows, because there's
not
not that
yet.
much snow
Oh, okay.
out there. But again, a lot of when we got the rain earlier in the day and the freezing temps and then the wind creates for a pretty slippery situation. So we've been out since late yesterday.
So probably an opportunity right now to mention about etiquette with snow
Yes.
removal for homeowners, about things parked in the
Keep
street.
your trailers and campers and vehicles off the street as much as you possibly can. Snow emergency routes, which are really your old red trail, your main street, all your routes around schools. So again, if it becomes time for us to go and clear snow and get the snow plows out, it's best to put your cars in your driveways so that, again, the
Yeah.
operators can move in a most efficient manner, and
Yeah.
we're not having to plow cars in as we move around in the residential areas.
And hopefully we'll have a winter like last winter. We
Yeah.
won't have our fire hydrants buried, but if you do see a fire hydrant in your neighborhood that's covered up,
Always free to take
Please.
a shovel out there and clean it out.
you're free to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
And we need the moisture, so it's all good from that standpoint. So this is a good thing. I think we like rain sometimes better than snow, but there's some people who like snow and want to get Huff Hills open again and roll in this wintertime. So
For sure. If you're just joining us, you are listening and watching City Current. I'm Mary Van Sickle, here with City Administrator for the City of Mandan, Jim Neubauer. We're talking about the Mandan Commission meeting last night, hitting some of the highlights.
Yep.
You presented also under new business on a FEMA grant.
Correct.
And this would be the Lower Heart River Flood Risk Project.
Yes.
It's a
It's a mouthful, and it's a big
Yeah,
project.
it is a big project. We have a map that we could probably start with, Jim, and if you wanted to talk a little bit about the area that we're talking about in Mandan.
Right. So there are three what we call units of the flood protection project, which is, in essence, we call it the dike around Mandan that protects us from the Heart River flooding and things like that. There's the Sunny unit, which is, if you're able to watch at home, it's the green line to the west of Mandan, kind of running from the bridge, the west end of town, over the Heart River, and again farther to the west. There's the north unit, which is kind of your central part of town, that is in yellow, and we have the lower unit, which kind of runs, in the area of the Mandan Trolley, all the way out to the Missouri River. So
Okay.
3 different units and work going on those areas.
Okay, and this new project will protect a large part of Mandan. So there is a
Correct.
special assessment citywide that'll be
Right, we
going
did
into effect.
create a district back in February, March of 2022. It is a citywide assessment district. And the reason for that is because if there's a significant amount of property, even if you look at 2 blocks north of Main Street, roughly going all the way through Memorial Highway, all the way through the Lakewood and Marina Bay and those areas of town, significant portion of Mandan would be at risk for having to buy flood insurance. And this project, upon completion and recertification of the Heart River levee, would enable those folks not to have to buy flood insurance, which can be rather expensive on a yearly basis. By completing this project, the goal is to take all of that area out of the flood risk.
Okay.
And last night's, we'd received a FEMA grant administered through the North Dakota Department of Emergency Services. A lot of hands in play in this,
Right.
but about $2.7 million of phase one is to get the design and documents ready to go to bid, and that's about $4.8 million in total. This grant is $2.7 million, so roughly about $2.1 million local cost. And some of the work will be, there's some flood walls that need work, probably near, if you're familiar with Mandan Municipal Golf Course, near holes 1 and 2.
We know
the
you
east
are.
end of that. I might be familiar with that area of town. And also there's one of the more significant levee raises is along hole number 4 of Mandan Municipal Golf Course, along with several other raises of the levee over time. And really over time, the levee has, I don't want to say sunk, but it's become lower in elevation just over time, and different flood requirements because of ice jams and things like that have required some levee raises in those areas. But yeah, so this is the FEMA grant for phase one, which gets us through the actual construction documents and gets the project ready to bid. We would anticipate that happening in the fall, winter of 2025.
And who will be doing that design work? Is there a consultant already
Consultant
identified?
HDR has been on
Okay.
board for several years. This has been a project in the making, goodness, probably for 15 years.
Wow.
And a long time, and a lot of different design options have been presented. A lot of different engineering firms have taken a look at this project. So again, HDR is the entity on board right now, along with, it's really the Lower Heart Water Resources District that is managing this project in part on behalf of the city of Mandan too, and Morton County.
And again, you said last night's action was just to implement phase one design process.
Design
And it'll-
process last night, and that will get us into the bidding process and
Okay.
construction potentially in 2026 and 2027, wrap up with items in 2028.
Okay.
And again, the phase one part of this design gets us into phase two, and there's another, in addition to the $2.7 million grant here, there's also been obligated $11.1 million to assist with this project too. So big picture terms, it's a $24.5 million project. $13.8 million of that is federal government, FEMA funded. 5.1 would be funded through North Dakota Department of Water Resources, and really $5.5 million would be the local share of a $24.5 million project. So it's a pretty good deal for our local residents, again, to take much of the city out of the flood risk zone.
I believe it was Commissioner Rohr who asked the question about disruption
Yes.
during construction. I
Yep.
mean, what does it mean for roads and whatnot, especially on the heels of, well, not even on the heels, probably at the same time, Memorial
Yes.
Highway is going to be
Yep.
somewhat disrupted. Will this cause traffic issues? And it doesn't.
Every construction project will cause traffic issues, right? But on this one, we think major disruption will probably be, and we're working on details of that to make it as minimally disruptive to the Mandan Municipal Golf Course along Hole 4 or the west side
Okay.
of that property as possible. And again, there's still a lot of design work to figure out how do we do that in the most efficient manner
Yeah.
and what's good for the whole community. So
Yeah.
those discussions with Lower Heart Water Resource District, with HDR, and also with the Mandan Parks and Rec.
What are you going to
are
do when
taking
these
place.
two big projects are done, Jim? Move on to number 3.
Yeah, move on to number 3. We have another couple projects that are even larger than this that we're looking at currently. So
take a long
there is no
time.
shortage
Yeah.
of work to be done. One of the bigger projects was the raw water intake for the drinking water side. That was a $36 million project. Memorial Highway is probably a $120 million project, and this is a $25 million project. So a lot of
Yeah.
significant work going on in the city of Mandan.
Not to mention
Not to mention a new high school,
New
and
high
not
school.
to mention a new elementary school, and so there's just, it reminds me a little bit of back when they talk about in the 50s when Garrison Dam was built. At the same time that was being built, the Lower Heart dike system was being built. The new Mandan High School was being built at that time too. So there's a lot of similarities, and also Amoco was building the refinery north of town. So we're kind of in one of those holy buckets. There's a lot of stuff going on right now.
So question asked to me yesterday. We were talking about Mandan High School, which
Yes.
just had their open house,
yes.
which I heard was very impressive to
Yes.
many people. What year was the old high school built? Do you know that?
I believe, if I'm remembering the block, sometimes they put a cornerstone.
Oh,
I think it was
sure.
1954.
Okay.
So I think in the mid 50s is when the old high school was first constructed.
Wow.
So yeah,
It served a purpose.
like I said, we're just kind of going through the same thing, 70 years later.
Yeah.
With all of the major projects going on in town.
It's a lot. Well, that
Yes.
wrapped up the notes we had from
Yeah.
last night's meeting, but we did want to talk about a couple of things that
Mm-hmm.
are happening in Mandan. A letter went out to many property
Correct.
owners about water, lead pipes, those
Yep.
types of things, and create a little stir on social media. But I also saw that your department put out a notice on this, or a clarification,
Yes.
and put out a press release on this. Can you explain a little bit about the letter and what this
There's
all means?
a lot of talk about lead service lines in homes and things like that, and along the federal government and state government, trying to make sure we identify if there are any lead service lines in your home. The idea is we need to do the identification, and then we need to do work on the plan to how do we correct and how do we make sure that the lead service line coming from our water system to your home gets taken care of. And we normally will do that when we're doing a street maintenance project that involves reconstruction of roads. We will do that checking and make sure that those lead service lines are removed at that time. And again,
Okay.
this is more of we need to get our inventory. We need to find out what world we're living in and how many lead service lines do we have out there. So again, if you got a letter, it doesn't mean you have a lead service line. It simply means we don't know.
Okay.
And then we need your help to try and figure out if you have a lead service line in or not. And the letter goes through, if you have questions, who to call and where to call and what to look for to see if you have a lead service line. And we're just saying, it's not meaning you have it.
Right.
It just means that we don't know, and we're trying to get that information so that we can come up with a comprehensive project to take care of these issues.
I noticed on the letter, too, it said if you would like to test your water, there were some testing facilities, two of them, I think, located here in the Bismarck-Mandan area,
Yep.
that you can do. You can send a water sample into it. There might be a charge to do that.
Right.
But it also said to call Public Works, I believe, if you have any questions, just get in touch.
And it's a matter of, like I said, this letter is not saying that you do have a lead service line. It's a matter of we're trying to find out if you do or if you don't. So if you got the letter, please respond to it as indicated in that letter and let us know. And then,
Okay.
because if you let us know the first time, then we don't have to come back and knock on your door or send you another letter and follow up with another letter. So please, if you got one of those letters, take action on it to let us know what you have.
So once it's determined if you do have a lead line,
Right.
what action is then recommended?
I think then we go through the process of determine what would a project look like. Because it'll be, okay, do we have certain areas of town that, okay, we've got 3-block area, then are all lead service lines, we need to attack that all at the same time? Or do we have just scattered pockets? Because some people over time have replaced their lines, and we just want to make sure that we're aware of those. But then again, the first part of this is let's find out what we have. What's our universe out there first? And then we'll come up with a plan after that on how
Yeah.
we best attack that.
For sure. Moving on, Jim, are you still looking for volunteers for your boards and committees?
I
Is that-
think we are. I
wrapping
think we
up?
have enough.
Okay.
Right now, we're in the process of not that anyone's ever precluded from applying for one of our positions
Sure.
on any of our boards. It's a matter of we put out the call in September, October, and at the end of October we say, okay, we've got 18 committees. We've got folks, I think, for every committee. And now it's a matter of those committees getting together and meeting and making recommendations to the city commission for appointment. So
Okay.
that's kind of the phase we're in now.
All right.
If you see us come out and say, hey, we're still looking for members of the Civil Service Commission or members of the Beautification Committee or things like that, that may be that we had a couple of people interested and then they decide, well, maybe this isn't for us.
Yeah.
So again,
sure.
right now I think we have enough folks that have volunteered, which is
Okay.
completely awesome.
Yes.
To be able to say that.
Good problem to have.
Right.
Right. Sounds good.
Yep.
Well, that kind of wraps up our notes. I did want to make another plug for the apps that Dakota Media Access has now. If you load our app, which is free, and you can load on any type of a device, I would recommend you do this. It has a live feed on the app, so you can see whatever is being scheduled for government or our community platforms. So lots of good content there, and it also has an archive of most recent programming. So it's really nice to use. I know I do use the app quite a bit in my vehicle if I'm trying to listen to a live meeting on the radio.
Because you're paying attention to the road, and you're also losing your ears to listen as to what's going on, right?
And my radio is not the most receptive, so I pull in the app to the vehicle, and it comes in nice, loud and clear, and I can listen to the whatever content is scheduled at the time. So it's really nice to be able to do that. So I recommend it's free to get it on your mobile device, and you can listen to all the Mandan City Commission meetings that you want to hear. So we keep plugging it away. So
between rebroadcasting all of the live meetings and all the meetings that aren't live on GMA, between the radio, you can listen to it if you don't want to download the app and just listen to 102.5.
102.5.
If I got that right.
Or radioaccess.org.
And like I said, with the mobile app, there's just so many different ways you can become educated and become informed on what's going on in your community.
For sure. So appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. And
thank you. And happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. And if you're traveling, safe travels. And like I said, don't forget to come out on Small Business Saturday. Don't forget about coming out for holiday lighting on Main Street. Usually it's you close down Main Street for a couple blocks, and hopefully we'll have awesome, great weather for that, like we have in the past.
New lighting.
Enjoy the new lighting. Cool. Yes. I was surprised. I was out of town for a week and drove down Main Street Saturday night about 11 o'clock and go, oh, they got the new lights on all of the light poles. So, and they are a significant improvement to what we have. So again, we put some of the old ones on Memorial Highway on the strip because we didn't order new ones for that, simply because we know the strip's going to be under construction and we'll have new light poles, and the brackets that need to fit those poles will wait until we get those. But
did I also hear the library's got some lighting around
has
it
some,
now?
Their entrance on the east and west sides has some new activities and new entrances on those to look at. So again, hop on down.
All right.
Spend some time.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Jim. We'll see you in a few weeks then.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And thank you for joining us on this edition of City Current.
For more information on what was discussed in this episode of City Current, visit cityofmandan.com or call 701-667-3215. If you have any suggestions, comments, or issues you would like addressed in future City Current episodes, contact us at info@freetv.org. This program airs on Government Access Channel 2 and 602 in HD, or on Radio Access 102.5 FM. It's also available as a podcast on radioaccess.org and as a video viewing link at freetv.org. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of City Current.